Welcome to Dysfunctional Adults, the comedy podcast in which we discuss weird news, pop culture, and being middle-aged dads. Yeah. We are bitter, cynical Gen Xers saddled with crippling debt and depressingly past our primes. But that's what makes this podcast so much fun. Oh, you guys, this is going to be the coolest podcast. We
It already is.
a guest.
Again?
Again. Can you believe it? 2 people in a row.
I know. That's awesome.
We don't count Luke. He doesn't count. I know he's going to listen to this. That's why I said that.
Hi, Luke.
Now let's say hi to our guest. Hi, Chris.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello.
6-time
Long time no see.
Emmy Award-winning Chris Stayman.
Hmm.
I think you got an
Yes.
EGOT too, right?
What?
An EGOT? Emmy,
What?
Grammy, Oscar, and whatever the T
Yes.
is.
Yes, indeed. Peacock. Well, I didn't know if you were getting into the furries. I didn't know if that was some into something.
We'll be getting into that for sure. Absolutely. I did a lot of digging on you, so
He doxed you.
we're about to assassinate your character.
In front of all 12 of our viewers.
Well, this is so cool. So we've known Chris for at least a couple months. Jason, how long have you known Chris?
2 weeks. They say it's too soon, but when it's right and you know it, it just feels right.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right.
No, I've known Chris since he was 12-ish or 11, maybe.
Even 12, 11, somewhere in there. We go
Jeez.
wait.
Used to run around with my brother, Billy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was like your house was like a second home to mine growing up.
You know,
Spent a lot of time there.
Chris was like another little brother. So
Oh yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, Jason's house was the neighborhood hangout for all the kids.
I sold drugs.
All of his friends, all of Billy's friends, plus his mom ran the daycare. So there was like 20 kids in that house at all times.
In that very small house.
Mm-hmm.
There were, huh? Yeah. Hanging out, playing video games in the bunk bed. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was good times.
Oh yeah. Geoforce. What is that? I don't want to.
Shut up.
What's going
That
on?
ringing bells, huh?
Oh. Nope, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Everybody on this podcast is going to get embarrassed today, so I want to hear something about Jason that we didn't know. You don't have to tell the story if it's really bad.
No,
but-
Chris. No, it's not. Chris can tell the story because it involves John too. So
What? No, I deny all involvement.
I don't know. I remember this art. It was like little, like Geoforce or something with shapes, right? And they were colored with markers. There was like a triangle, guys, right?
That was our get rich quick idea. We were gonna be comic book creators with geometric shapes, but they were graphically violent. So I don't know who they would have appealed to. Thinking back on it now, like they're these little characters that would only appeal to 5-year-olds, but had the violence that a teenage boy like us would love.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, maybe it didn't have the market we thought it had 35 years ago or whatever it was.
my favorite thing about it though was John had a character who was an upside down cone and gave him a goatee.
Yes.
So they just had arms and legs, and it was
Well,
a
you can't-
cone. So
Yeah.
if you imagine, it looked like pubic hair.
you have no way of making them show age. So when we made them get older, you have them grow beards. But if they're upside down triangles or cones, where else is the beard going to go?
In their crotch.
In their crotch. Exactly.
But it was totally done innocent. At least I
No,
wasn't
I was well aware of what it looked like, but I didn't know what else to do.
The things that had been. Yeah.
Yeah, that's super embarrassing. The funny thing is, though, my son Sam, when he was like 10, found them because I kept them like a dumbass. He found them and he loved them and he wouldn't stop reading them. And so I think they're in the possession of my youngest son, Benjamin, now, and he won't get rid of them either. So
Yeah, mine got chucked a long time ago.
Well, that's a bummer.
I had some
I-
of yours too.
I actually did keep them for like 20 years. I bet I only threw them away like 10 years ago or so. So because
Ripped off the-
they're all just packed away in boxes. So when I
Yeah.
moved and I was going through and I found them, I was like, oh crap, I don't want this evidence getting out there.
Oh man, that's funny. That's funny.
Well, speaking of evidence, that's a perfect segue. I'm going to start this podcast off completely wrong. We're going to start with a little video so everybody can kind of get to know Chris a little bit.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes.
Better not be me saying you bastard, because if it is.
I don't think so. No, I know nothing about that, actually. And I sound like I do, but I really literally don't.
Excellent. We'll leave that there. I don't know what you did.
So today we will be talking about how great Chris Stayman is. However, I think it's only fair that we also talk about the dark side of Chris Stayman. To aid our audiences in making a judgment for themselves, I spent half of my son's college fund hiring PIs and risking life and limb meeting denizens of the deep underground in places where God dare not tread in order to find out the truth. So, every piece of evidence, of the following evidence that I have of Chris Stayman's true character, I would venture to guess there are probably 3 others that I didn't find. Remember that context matters, and that is why I will be providing the context for what you're about to experience. It is for your own benefit. Please stay cognizant of the following as you watch what I have brought today. In the dark, Chris goes by another name, one synonymous with unfeeling rage, betrayal, clumsiness, and bigotry.
Yeah. I don't even want to see this. I have no clue. There we go.
Oh, wow.
All right, here we go.
Well, that's better than some of the clips it could have been.
Yeah.
There's some earlier movies that would have been much worse.
Compiled evidence.
That's what this is. This is no laughing matter, Jason. All right. Watch while Chris repetitively treats his best friend Bruno like shit on the bottom of his snakeskin boot. Balk at the way he shirks responsibility because he believes he's too good for completing chores.
You'd think it'd be easy, but that's not the way it happens. Bruno told me that he accidentally traded my lawnmower for a pack of gum.
You traded my lawnmower for gum?
Now that didn't surprise me.
What did surprise me is he said it was a sock puppet he made the trade with.
That's how I met Lord Sacco and his people. He seemed quite pleasant at first. Little did I know of the evil which stirred within that mad puppet. An evil which knew no boundaries.
Now, he regularly engages in black magic rituals to further his reign of terror, and I have proof, as you are about to see. Forward to this.
Barks the rock.
Believing himself to be above it all, he laughs in the face of authority while gladly accepting free martial arts and weapons training from the very figure he laughs at.
I am Lobo, the guardian from another realm. You have unleashed terrible evil upon your world.
He was right. Because of us, our world nearly came to an end. For weeks, Lobo trained us how to defend our world from Sacco and his minions. He taught us about the many worlds and the portals which connect them. He became my mentor and my friend.
Well, recoil in horror as this racist heaps atrocity upon minorities in the puppet fields community. The paper bag and sock puppet populations have dwindled to dangerously low numbers by Chris's hand alone. This is a bad man. All right. As his whipping boy, Bruno, the product of a human and a giant, is ripe for abuse due to his low intellect, which is due to his mixed species heritage. See how Chris laughs at the sadness and hurt he causes Bruno? When that isn't enough to feed his narcissism, he resorts to torturing Bruno through terror. Even when Bruno apologizes, Chris criticizes him. Disgusting. Every chance he gets, Chris makes sure to let Bruno know he disapproves of everything about him, even his food preferences.
I'm so sick of this. Sick of everything. You and your stupid ideas. Every time we do anything your way, we get nowhere. And I hate this worthless planet. I want to go home. I'm trying. Well, that's not getting us anywhere, is it? Ah! Give me that stupid thing! No! You stupid! You suck and I hate you! You smell like chicken poo! I'm scared of crows.
Sorry.
Watch it.
I'm hungry. Something smells good.
Oh, yeah! Oh, boy! Oh, yeah!
Stunned banana.
Want some? Oh, Bruno, man.
I wouldn't be surprised if he also insults Bruno for his reading difficulties. Regardless, Chris's bigotry doesn't extend to puppets alone, as you'll see. His rage is boundless.
You are be wary of the Bryson monster.
It's him. That's your bridge monster? Let me by. Oh, I'm sorry, little guy. Ah!
Oh, Chris. More racism coming right up. Chris feels fine about casting the first stone, even against zombies. I feel like Chris is just trying to commit every misdemeanor and felony known to man. Here he is impersonating a law enforcement officer and abusing that power to commit murder.
I'm taking you out, Cactus Pete.
How about some more violence at his hands? And let's not forget his bizarre sexual fetishes.
Just needs a ball gag.
Now, this clip is not a condemnation per se, but it is shocking. Someone we all may have mischaracterized because they put forth a kind and generous facade. Someone here on this podcast, in fact, may be showing his true colors in this clip, and I feel it's only fair for us to be wary of them going forward.
Why don't you shut up?
Anyway. For the remainder of these pieces of evidence, I will keep quiet. However, I want to give you a few things to watch for. Chris really is very clumsy, but he's also kind of a little bitch about it when he does fall a little. You'll see him fall quite a lot for the next minute and a half. Chris is a horrible musician. His loyal subjects had finally had enough and were getting ready to free themselves of his reign of terror, but he was able to thwart their righteous attack with a few notes. There is also a lot of violence in these clips. Innocent bystanders are slaughtered indiscriminately. A man who was able to successfully defend himself against Chris eventually forgave him and even performed Chris's baptism by water, and you'll see how Chris thanked him for his kindness. The last example of his racism is the last clip, where he shows us how he truly feels about medium-sized piles of medium-sized rocks. So,
wow.
I hope what I've shown you here today will allow you to make a more informed judgment of Chris's character rather than it basing it solely on the good things that will be said for the rest of this podcast. And thank you very much.
Can I make a couple comments on that footage?
Well, I think we should have the defendant, be able to defend himself.
I'm speechless. I don't know what to say. Wow. I'm not sure what you're going to show, but that brings back some memories. That's for sure.
You were Thomas. You were the Thomas. Like, not in a good way. I mean, like, you couldn't have been cast better, or he couldn't have been cast better.
Yeah,
you did a great job.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm no longer acting. I don't know why, but it's a short-lived career. I don't know. I don't know if it was the pay or the lack of skill, the lack of talent. One of the two.
You should have been better at 16 or 17, right? Is what you're saying?
Compensate. Yeah, for sure.
It couldn't have been pay, seeing as we didn't pay you for any of that. Like a 2-year project.
Yeah, good memories. Yeah, good times.
So for anybody that doesn't know, this is a movie that was directed and written, directed by John and Jason, correct?
Yep.
Written by like 8 people or 9 people or something.
No, me, Zach, and John, we wrote it.
It was the 3 of us, yeah.
And then Chris kindly joined the cast as the main character.
Yeah. And Bryce did fantastic putting it all together.
Right?
Yeah.
Bryce was the guy baptizing Chris before Chris murdered him. That was awesome. So, I don't know. I hope you're not too embarrassed. I think it was great and it was fun, and I'm just this is a good memory of watching this. I was only part of the writing part. I didn't get to be part of the making the movie, but it was still so cool to see that come to fruition and to watch it all these years later. And I don't know, just a soft spot in my heart for all this.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Me as well. Good memories. Good time. It's funny how, like, watching some of those clips, it's like I remember filming some of them. Some of the memories come back. You know what I mean? You feel yourself being there.
Yeah.
He's like, I hate you guys.
Some of the memories that were terrible at the time are fun to talk about later.
Oh yeah.
Like, do you remember, Chris, that the puppet scene? How hot that was?
Oh yeah.
That was like the middle of July, and we didn't bring enough water, and that was so miserably hot. Mm-hmm. And then do you remember the boat scene out on Antelope Island?
Oh yeah.
We had to park, and we had a rowboat, and we had to drag it down to the water, which is like a mile away, dragging it over sand. And it was so hot and so exhausting. And then we had to drag it all the way back. And then it's like, as soon as we get home, Jason just sells the boat.
It wasn't that fast.
We could have just left the boat there if he didn't want it.
Yeah.
I didn't sell it. Back I gave it away.
It's even worse, man. Just leave it there with a sign that says free boat.
Just leave it. Yeah.
So a couple other comments I'd like to make on that clip is, one, I got off easy on that footage. So thank you, Zach. I was barely in that footage. You know those signs? It showed Chris destroying that sign that said the middle of nowhere, and then it showed the sign, the bridge monster sign. We left those there so other people could enjoy them. And that bridge monster one, I would go back periodically because that was at a golf course. I would go back periodically, and that stayed up there for quite a while. Eventually, like weeks later or something, I went back and someone had taken that sign and thrown it down off the bridge into the river. You could see it down there in the river. I'm like, okay, I guess that's the end of that. But then I came back like another week later, and the sign was standing back up there.
Awesome.
Someone, not me, went down there, retrieved that sign from the river, and stood it back up because they liked it so much. So I take pride in that.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Gives me ideas. I want a bridge monster sign on some of the bridges I run around over here. Just put one up permanent.
Oh, yeah. And one more thing, Chris, and I'm sure Jason would like to apologize you for that final fight scene with Bryce in the water, because we never told you were going to get wet, and we didn't bring a towel or a change of clothes. We kind of sprung that on both you guys at the last minute. It's like, oh, by the way, it'd be cool if the final fight was in this water. And it was cold, and we didn't plan it in advance, and we had no.
It was October.
Was it cold? Cold, huh? Yeah.
I think it was September, October. The water was really cold because it was like river water just trickling down a little waterfall into that pool. And we didn't bring towels or anything. So you guys were soaked. And so our bad on that.
I think you have grounds for a lawsuit.
I'm trying. Where was that? Was that Mill Creek? No.
No, it was I think it was the Bonneville Golf Course. I think it was the same area as the Bridge Monster, just further down.
It was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep, I remember that.
Good times.
It was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun. And the best part of it is my son Samuel loved that movie. He'd watch it over and over again.
Yeah, my son loves it too. Even 20 years later, it's still popular.
That's cool.
Do you have a copy, Chris?
I do. My kids have seen it. Yeah.
Nice. And now 12 more people have seen part of it.
Yeah.
We didn't call you on here just to talk about Thomas Destiny.
No, not at all. And in order to make up for the shitty thing I just did to you, I'm so sorry. After 20 years or however long it's been, you get on here, you're nice enough to join us, and I'm like, I'm going to make fun of him. But I really did contact you partly because of what you've accomplished recently. Plus, we've known you for so long, and just to see your rise in life and see the things you've accomplished, it's so cool. And kind of wanted to talk about some of that stuff.
Well, thank you. Yeah. Thanks for having me on. First off,
Absolutely.
I mean, we haven't talked in quite a while, really. I mean, we've chatted on and off on Facebook, but yeah, it's good talking to y'all. We do go way back. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I don't know how much you guys know about this information. I just looked it up a little bit. Chris turned 42 in February. A little bit right after that, he ran the Pistol Ultra Run in Alcoa, Tennessee. And not only did he take first place in the men's 100-mile run, he broke the Tennessee state record time of 15 hours, 7 minutes, and 1.6 seconds set on March 18th, 2023 by a 35-year-old person named Sho Gray, with a new time of 14 hours, 1 minute, and 32.6 seconds, which is 1 hour, 5 minutes, and 29 seconds faster. His average pace was 8 minutes and 25 seconds per mile. Is that correct, Chris?
Yeah, that's about right. I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. I looked at the splits. They posted it on the website, and you consistently averaged under 8.5 minutes per mile for the entire race. In fact, your slowest average pace was at the beginning of the race at an average of 8 minutes and 55 seconds per mile for the first 4.34 miles, which is 533% faster than I could run a mile at my peak. And after that, almost every mile was under 8.5 minutes. And I mean, that's killer. The fact that you kept up that pace for 100 miles, that is
that's
so
insane.
Impressive.
Thank you. Yeah.
So how did you train for that? How did you get involved in like distance running like that?
Gosh, I mean, it's a ramp up, It's been a ramp up over years. And so, did some half marathons, did marathon, 50K, which is 31 miles. Did a couple 50Ks and then kind of chunked off the 100-miler and just did more hundreds. That was my 10th 100-mile race. So
wow. That is so hardcore, man.
Yeah.
I did a 5K once and I was impressed with myself. It's basically the same thing, right? Like 3 miles, 100 miles.
So,
like
yeah.
They say the first 3 miles are the hardest. The other 97, you're just going through the motions, right?
That's the trick. You get past the first 3 miles and then it's cake after that. Just gets easier over time. Yeah, different races. 5Ks are hard in different ways. Sometimes I've told people I'd rather run a 100 miler than a 5K just because it's a different kind of race, depending on how you race it. It's all how you race it. I mean, if you go all out, if you pace it wrong, you're going to blow up and have a terrible day. But if you pace it right and train right, you have a good day usually, but not usually. I mean, there's no usually in a 100 miler, or, you just hit obstacles and break through them,
Yeah. I have a friend at work that does the 100 milers also.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because he does marathons like all over the country as well. He says he's done like 100 marathons, and he does the 100 miler every year. And he says every single year he tells himself, "Why did I do this to myself? Like I'm never going to do this to myself again." But then every year he does it again anyway. Are you the same way? Is it like I can't imagine how grueling that would be.
Yeah, I mean, you can get there for sure, where you're like, I'm never doing this again, or you'll be out there and like, why am I doing this? Why do I do this myself? But if you keep your head right, I mean, it's all on how you approach it. Yeah, I mean, there's highs and lows, but I enjoy it. So long as I'm not doing a bunch close together, I'm usually pretty good. And sometimes like I'll do one and then I want to do another one fairly quick, like I wanted to do one in April, like a month after Pistol, but I ended up helping a friend with his 100, so I didn't do that one. But yeah. What's your friend's name who runs out there?
Mike. Do you know him?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if all you 100-mile runners know each other, or if it's like an exclusive club or what, but
yeah.
He does like the Boston Marathon every year, and he's done them all over the country. But the 100-miler he does is out here in the desert somewhere. I don't know where, but
okay.
I'd have to ask him next time I talk to him.
I'll be running the next race that's on the calendar is actually Wasatch. So I'll be running Wasatch 100 in September. So I'll be out that way running one. So
okay, nice.
It's possible we'll cross paths. But yeah, it's a super small world. It's crazy how small world it is.
You like walk up to people and say, "Hey, I've run 100 miles. Have you ever run 100 miles?"
Like in my life combined,
no,
maybe.
No, I mean, you watch Dexter, Dexter, like the passenger. It's like the dark passenger that's in his head. They can see other dark passenger. It's kind of like that, where you're just like, I mean, you can kind of see it, like, and I'll see runners all over the place, but it's like I ran into an ultra runner literally across the street from my house on a small, like a country road. I never seen anyone running on it because just loonies out there. And it was another ultra runner. I could just tell he was, I don't know. I saw the dark passenger, and so we ended up talking. And
like a hand signal, like a gang sign kind of that you flash, knowing that
kind of is,
you're a runner.
It's like there's that look of recognition. You're like, yep, you're a runner. I mean, you can kind of pick another runner out pretty easy, even in like street clothes. I mean, certain things. I don't know. Yeah. There's certain tells. Sure.
Is there a rivalry with like cyclists?
Rivalry with cyclists? No, not really. There might be rivalries within the running community. You'll have like roadies and trail runners. There's a little rivalry there. Not necessarily, but it's like, say, marathon, generally a different crowd than ultra marathoners,
Yeah.
Races, like an ultra marathon, you have like aid stations, people getting like bacon and quesadillas and drinking shots at aid stations, Fireball whiskey. Like, I kid you not, you know what I mean? Like a table full of shots. What do you want, And not to say that marathons aren't the same way in some regard, but yeah, they're just different cultures, slightly different. Generally, I mean, they're both friendly races, but generally, the ultra running community is a little more seen as a little more laid back, I guess. You meet some pretty hard people out there for sure. Some really tough old people who've been running for a long time. You wouldn't know it looking at them, but just tough as nails.
Obviously, running 100 miles, you've got to have some weird stories, man. Anything weird happen? Anything funny? Did you see Sasquatch?
Didn't see Sasquatch ever. That'd be nice. You'll see people need to go to the bathroom, so it's just like you'll be running by, like look over, and it's like, oh, I didn't mean to see that ass, like someone's ass. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What do you do? Like, do you take any breaks when you're running 14 hours straight?
He wears a diaper.
Okay, you're eating while you run, I assume, right?
Yeah, so depending on the race, yeah, you usually will. If I'm racing competitively, it's a matter of in and out. So, I'll stop really quick to grab something, but I don't know, at most I'll stop like 30 seconds and I'm just grabbing whatever and eating it while I run. So it just depends on the race. I'll do goos, gels, gummies. I like a lot of like gummy bears and things. So I'll eat a lot of gummy bears. They sit right with me. They're easier. So eat a lot of those. Drink, I don't know, probably drank like 6 or 7 Mountain Dews during that Pistol. Come in and just slam a Mountain Dew and then, take off.
When you have to pee, you just run off trail and go behind a tree and run back on, or?
Yeah, generally, yeah. I mean, if you need to, you go off trail. Or, I mean, there's like porta bodies sometimes, but sometimes it's where you end up, you know?
Yeah.
Are there people that just try to gain a little bit more time by just like going while they're running? Like just
There are. I'd say less. That's more likely more in like a marathon or like a shorter race. I mean, I've known people who've done that or try, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I don't know. Too many people want to be running around after.
Jogging in an adult diaper that's sloshing around for 15 hours. That does sound pretty unpleasant. Yeah.
Yeah.
John says sounds.
Yeah, I wouldn't know, John says.
Trying to think what other weird things you see. I mean, I remember the first 100 I did at 3 a.m. and it was on Antelope Island. And I was probably like a mile out from the aid station and the sound was just carrying. And I heard someone was just like puking, like, and I was just off in the distance. And it was just like, this guy was like sick and hypothermic and just throwing up. It was terrible. And you'll see people in all sorts of like lows. And you'll see them in bad places for sure. And oh gosh, it's sad seeing people tap out of a race at 80 miles. So they just say like, I'm done. It's like, come on, you've got like 15 more miles. You're like mile 85. Like, just come on, let's go, you know? And just see them just tap out and give up. You think, man, you're gonna regret that, you know? But in that moment, so you'll see that. You'll see people cry, people laying down, people sleeping, taking dirt naps on the side of the trail, people throwing up, you know? Help people before, you know, throwing up. One of my buddies threw up like 5 or 6 times in one of his times I was pacing him.
Oh, wow.
And, you know, of course I'm getting pictures of him. Well, I didn't get, yeah. I got fish in there, but then, you know, but when he was sleeping by a tree and then you get people like going by and they're like, you okay? And I'm like, leave him alone. He's trying to sleep, you know. Are you sure he's okay? Yeah, he's fine. Leave him alone, you know. Yeah, good times. Some people hallucinate, though. Some people have gone blind running races for a bit.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
But yeah, hallucinations are pretty common. I have hallucinated. I had a buddy who thought he saw me at an ultra once because I was running the same race with him. He thought I was coming up behind him, and I wasn't at that moment. But
that's crazy.
It's hardcore, man.
People see like leopards sleeping in hammocks, and they'll see like houses with lights, and I'll pull on like hallucinations, and yeah, it's nuts. And I think it'd be kind of cool to hallucinate, but I haven't yet. I've fallen asleep while walking, you know, like not running, but I've fallen asleep walking in the middle of the night.
Oh, wow.
Just veer off the trail and come to, but
just from working so hard and pushing yourself too far, or what's the...
Yeah, like sleep deprivation and just like pushing yourself so hard, just getting sleepy in the middle of the night because it gets dark and just like you're in the pain cave, you know?
Wow.
Yeah. And then you can always lay down and take a nap, which I've definitely done during ultras though. And I did one across the state of Tennessee. And so that one, you were sleeping wherever you could sleep. It was hot.
There's lots of bugs out that way too.
Yeah, lots of bugs, just cars here on the side of the highway. So yeah, lots of roadkill and heat in July. Yeah, you'd see some interesting things. And then you kind of look like you're homeless because I was on the road for 7 days during that race. So, you know, there are no aid stations either. You just traveling down the road. By the day 7, you're filthy and you look like you're homeless, you know?
Reminds me of the Forrest Gump scene where he's like running across the country.
Yeah. And you going to dollar stores and Dollar Generals and changing clothes, you know, wearing whatever you can get from like a dollar store.
Well, that's incredible. That's really incredible. And you look good. You can tell you've been running because you are slim, trim, and svelte.
Yeah, I enjoy it. Yeah, it's good for me.
Do you mind if I share the picture of you? I don't know if it's of you going across the finish line, just finishing up, but it's a photo from the race. Do you mind if I share that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That feeling of accomplishment is so palpable and easy to see in this picture.
Oh, yeah.
It looks like you're screaming at somebody.
Oh, yeah. I was stoked, yeah.
I'll bet.
It was a really good moment.
Did you know that you'd broken a record?
Yeah, I was going to say,
point?
did you know that you had won at that point or that you'd set a record?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was surreal for sure. And yeah, to be able to do that means state record and yeah, just have a really good day. It was nice. It's really good. All the friends and everyone was there cheering me on and yeah, it was really good. Warm welcome. Yeah.
That's so cool. When you and I were setting this up, that you were coming to the West Coast and trying to set it up for a date when you're on the West Coast?
Oh,
is it a race bringing you out to the West Coast or what's going on?
No, I'm headed out there for work in, I guess, 2 weeks. Yeah, headed out to like a national lab out near Berkeley. So yeah, doing that, helping them with assessment, which is. Did
you offer to run like instead of fly? So save the company some money.
No, I did look for some races, but nothing good. A good running community out there, but nothing when I was around there. But I think it'll be a pretty busy week, so probably a good time that I did it just on the East Coast time this week. never know with work travel.
I know you said you kind of started with different races, but what kind of got you starting running, like for these, just to challenge yourself, or did someone dare you, or you running from the police?
Because you used to be into cycling, right? Like I remember during like the 20 years ago in the Thomas Destiny days, you were a big bike rider.
I was big on mountain biking at that point.
Yeah.
And I got in that mountain bike accident, so that kind of ruined some of that for me. But I think when I moved to Idaho, the trails weren't so close by, so I stopped doing that, got busy with work, and then gosh, I always ran on and off through my 20s, and then kind of really picked it up later in like my late 30s. Just started running before work just to take care of myself, you know, because it just like took on like a higher stress job, and so I just did that. Just started running before work every day. Kind of got a habit going where I ran every single day before work for years, and just kind of built off that. So I started doing that, and then raced some half marathons. I'd raced some before that, and just got more and more into it, and then. Yeah, it wasn't like a straight build up, but yeah, generally I kind of built off that. And over the next couple of years, I tacked on my first 50K, my first ultra, and then did a couple of years of that, and then moved out here to Tennessee and kind of switched gears, backed off running a lot and started lifting weights. And then I didn't run really for about a year and a half or so, and then just got back into it. I've gone full in on it since getting back into it. See the success, and you know, there's putting the work in, I'm like, okay, I can do something with at this point in my life. I can hit some goals, see what I'm capable of, you know. So that's where I'm kind of at right now, is just kind of pushing it. But yeah, just been a build over the years, and I just enjoy it so much. So,
would you say that 42 is the oldest you've ever been? So would you say that you feel healthier now than you did prior to your, I mean, do things hurt less when you're that in shape? Like, because I feel like it hurts when I get up and then I go pee and it hurts, or whatever, you know, it just burns a little or whatever. But but really when you get to that level of being in shape, do things just feel better in general?
I think I'd say so. Yeah. I mean, you feel good. You definitely hurt. I mean, you feel, depends on where you're at and what's going on. I mean, you get up and feel like, it hurts. Or like walking up a hill, I'd be like, dang, my legs are tired and whatever, you know, if you wear your legs out. But I think so. In general, I move well and feel healthy, and things hurt less. I know when I first got back into running after stopping for a while, it really hurt. And I was like, dang, I started feeling old, you know, but it was just a matter of training through it. And then,
That's cool.
Yeah. It's crazy how I'd say I'm in the best shape I've ever been in. It's just kind of proportional to the amount of work I put in, and it's just kind of deciding that I just add more things on if I can, you know. It's like I'll get like kind of a base, and then I'll just build something else on top of it and build something else on top of it.
So have you totally given up on the acting career? I mean, because, you know.
I just have had to put that on the back burner a bit.
Forever.
Well, how much would you need to be offered to come back for the sequel? That's what we're wondering. That's why we called you today.
That's the intervention. Yeah. I do it. It'd be complicated. I'd do it. I'd figure it out. I have to do it. I'm out there. In September, we'll just bust it out real quick.
Well, it's sad. If we tried that, I mean, what does that say about the character Thomas? He never got home. He just because he was supposed to be a kid. So like now you're 42, and you know, get Adam out here too. So.
You know, watching that footage while I was putting all that stuff together, y'all were some good-looking dudes. What happened? What happened?
He means John and Chris.
I mean, no,
man,
dude,
Jason,
you looked great, man.
Yeah,
in the very beginning,
you got old.
Really skinny at the beginning, and
that was the skinniest I've ever been in my adult life. So it was just blowing up from there.
Nothing 100-mile run won't fix, Jason.
Oh yeah, because I'll be dead. And there's some standing instructions to the funeral home director to like suck some of my juice out. You know, when they're doing the embalming, and so you know, I want to look a lot skinnier. So.
Cheekbones and all that shit. Like,
put some tusks in, ornamental tusks.
I get tired driving 100 miles. You know, running it, to me, it sounds like that Stephen King book, The Long Walk. You ever read that one?
I started that. I need to finish it. Yeah, it's really, there are some parallels for sure. It's really got some similar for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like a race that a guy would put on. So it's kind of twisted, but yeah.
There's got to be more to you than just running, right? What else you got going on? You got kids and a wife and a job.
Got kids. Cash is my son's turning 12 tomorrow, and Sydney's 13. That means Sydney will be going into high school next year. And Mary, we've been married since 2005, so where we at?
19 years. Wow. Yeah, I remember she was she hung around sometimes when we were filming.
Yep.
Almost Destiny. Yeah.
Is that crazy? Yeah. Thinking about that far back. Because I mean, looking at wow, I was a kid, Yeah, but Mary's doing well. Yeah, we're enjoying Tennessee and just live outside Knoxville here, and really good area.
Did you move out there for work?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I moved out here I work at a lab, and I work in radiation protection. So we do a lot of all kinds of different research and isotope production, and tons of. It's one of the bigger labs in the nation. So
was it a miracle that you had kids? Because if you're working with radiation,
Yeah, the amount of radiation I get, it's like I've had more radiation from doctor appointments than I've had from work. Yeah. Even in 1 year, even. It gives me ability to run fast, but beyond that.
That's where he gets it. It's got to be the radiation.
A really good actor for the sequel, too. But, just hang out with the fam. We just got a swimming pool, so I've been swimming a bunch. Weather's getting warm, so.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Got my master's degree just over a year ago. And
oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's awesome.
What was your master's in?
It's in technology management. So it's got some homeland security. It's got some project management stuff. So it kind of incorporates a lot of the stuff we do at the lab into a program, like a technology program.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Yeah, good for you, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you.
And you owe it all to the abuse that we put you through making a low-budget movie that went nowhere. No, I'm just kidding. He's like, yeah, that. I love the Hello Kitty mug, by the way. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, that is how I funded school. Just loving life out here and doing well.
Yeah, it seems like it. It really does. Uh-oh, breaking news. John in the Situation Room has what's going on. What's going on, John?
Florida man breaking news update from May 1st. This is from 2013, so it's a breaking news story from 11 years ago. Florida man calls 911 80 times to demand Kool-Aid, hamburgers, and weed. 34-year-old Jarvis Carlton Sutton wanted Kool-Aid, hamburgers, and weed, and he wanted the police to bring it to him. Sutton kept 911 operators busy by blitzing them all day long with phone calls. When Pinellas County Sheriff's deputies finally showed up at Sutton's house, he was honest about his demands. The defendant admitted to calling 911 because he wanted Kool-Aid, burgers, and weed to be delivered to him, the sheriff's deputy wrote in his arrest report. Instead of delicious snacks, the officers gave Sutton a pair of handcuffs and took him to jail on charges of misusing the 911 system. En route to jail, Sutton then began chewing on the foam behind the seat in the cruiser.
All right.
So there is your Florida man breaking news update from May 1st.
Was DoorDash not around 10 or 11 years ago?
It wasn't.
It wasn't? Has it? Okay. I don't know anything about time anymore. I'm past that age where I know.
If they had just given him the Kool-Aid, the hamburgers, and the weed that he was asking for, he wouldn't have had to eat the foam from the back of their cruiser seat.
It's really their fault.
It is on them.
Yeah. A-cab, buddy. A-cab. I don't know what else we got. Is that it? Are we done? That was fun.
Show and tell?
There's always show and tell.
I'm just teasing.
Always.
Did you decide to join in on the show and tell?
I don't know what I've got.
All right.
See what I can get.
Oh, hey, Jason. While he's looking at that.
Should I go first then?
Oh, I got something for you.
Uh-oh. My balls dropped.
That makes me so happy.
I have to be careful what I say on this damn show.
Everything you say is going to become a soundbite in future episodes.
That's not the only one. I was just
really proud.
Do you hear the ending where you say finally?
We'll play it for me again.
My balls dropped. Finally.
You're just
better late than never.
You know, you're a good source for sound bites, but I think this one is pretty good.
Apollo Burger makes McDonald's look like a syphilitic whore. I stand by that.
All right, last one.
This is still covered with semen, though. Out of context. Out of context.
That works for every situation. No context is needed.
I just, the thing is I have a bank of buttons that I can push that have our intros, all of our sound bites. But then if I want to go to the cool ones where you're saying stuff, I have to switch banks. And I'm not fast enough that if you guys say something that one of these little clips pertains to it, I'm not fast enough to hit it and then hit that button. So I'm just not good at this. I need to find a new job.
Oh,
I need to find a
nonsense.
new job.
Nonsense.
I just say
awesome,
stuff
Zach.
like that
We
so you
love
guys will give me accolades. Thanks.
It works every time, too.
It does. It really does. I consider what I did at the beginning my show and tell. I don't have anything else. It's all I've worked on. Plus, I've been moving. Oh, thank you guys so much for coming to help me move. I really appreciate it. From the bottom of my heart, that was really helpful, you assholes. So
We are always happy to help you.
We're always happy to say that we'll come help you and then not show up.
Well, this looks interesting. What's this, Jason? I'm going to regret this. We're all going to regret this. Let me go
That's
to
what Chris was worried about.
Dude.
John, you're wearing a skull mask. Don't.
Oh no, really?
This is, I hope I'm not part of this.
Zach, you were in this movie too. I should show you the clip that you're in.
Oh, good. You're not, okay, you're not showing. I can't remember which part I was in, so I know it was really short, and I was some sort of.
You were in the very beginning scene, and then that's it.
Thank God.
This is actually where Chris got his acting debut, if I remember right.
Oh yeah.
Bastard! Don't try that again.
You can stop it.
Was that the Oscar-winning
Yeah,
performance?
The anger was real. I just felt it, you know. And we only needed to do that in one take.
That was
You go all the
one
way back-
take? That was amazing.
I don't remember. I was 15 years old. But
Was it 3340?
that was what you just saw.
Oh, I know.
So-
I wanted to see it again. It was really good. All right. Anyway,
And to the left is my brother Billy, Chris's friend. They were 12 at the time, I think, and this was just an excuse for them to swear on camera. So I think that's why they wanted to do it. But
Yeah.
sorry, Chris, I couldn't help it.
Yep. Star Trek swear words is what I remember being told.
Yeah.
yep.
Damn, hell, and bastard were the acceptable ones.
Damn you,
Yeah.
my brother, you bastard.
I think you had to cycle through all of them just to get them out, you know. So,
Oh yeah.
that was from the award-winning movie Vengeance.
It swept
Written-
the Oscars that year, didn't it?
1995.
Swept something. I don't know, the floor. John and I wrote and directed that one too, and John was the fellow in the skull mask.
And they came out in 1995, the same year as Braveheart. And I think they were neck and neck in like
Neck
the
and
Oscar races.
Right. Yeah, there was something between Chris and that Australian guy in Braveheart, whoever he was. I don't remember his name. Yeah.
I did want to bring something else up, and this is not really show and tell, but there are rumors, speaking of Australian guys, that Hugh Jackman's boyfriend moved in with him. And I just...
Ryan Reynolds?
No, some other dude. But it's a kick in the pants, because all this time we've been lusting after him, and he's been up for it. I don't know. I stole that from a TikTok, full disclosure, but I thought it was
Doesn't it
pretty
make you
funny.
feel good that now you have a chance?
I don't think I ever had a chance. He's just out of my league.
There's something to be said about the fact that now that you know he's into men, you still have the same amount of chance. There's something, ouch.
And to be completely honest, that's just a rumor. I did research that. It's the sad part of this. It's my life. Anyway, show and tell.
Show and tell.
Nice.
Oh, I didn't even do the show and tell sound. What an idiot. All right. Anyway, keep going.
It's a very special episode.
And now it's time for show and tell.
Take it away, Luke.
Take it away, Luke. Yeah, I really need to change that soundbite. Anyway.
I love it.
All right, let's bring up the chat, see what Chris sent me.
She invites me up at 12 o'clock at night for coffee.
Would you like to come upstairs for some coffee?
Oh, no, thanks. I can't drink coffee late at night. It keeps me up. No, thank you. I don't want coffee. It keeps me up.
Okay.
Okay.
Good night.
Yeah, take it easy. Too late for me to drink coffee. I said this to him. Hey, get in. People this stupid shouldn't be allowed to live.
I'm losing my patience with you!
Can you imagine what she must think of me? She thinks you're a guy that doesn't like coffee. He invited me up. Coffee's not coffee. Coffee is sex.
I'm thirsty. Anyone want a drink? Drink.
That AI is freaking me out.
Yeah.
It's like AI mashup. It's just so random, but
That's good.
yeah.
It amazes me the creativity that people on the internet have.
Yeah.
I mean, just some of the funniest stuff and some of the most random stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That was good. That was really funny.
That was funny.
And I love Seinfeld.
Oh yeah.
Classic.
I'm married to a younger woman now, Megan, and she doesn't get Seinfeld.
Oh, I was going to say again,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
third one, and how young is she this time, Jason?
No, I think you had to. Seinfeld's like, it's very much 90s. You had to be there the first time.
Yeah.
I've noticed that with a lot of other young people too. Like, it doesn't translate to different eras the way, Friends or some of these other shows from the same time period do. Anyone who wasn't old enough to appreciate Seinfeld as it was on in syndication doesn't get it now, it seems.
Yeah. That's fair.
I think a lot of shows that break new ground as they go kind of have a shock value to them, not in the way that a shock comic has shock value, like Kinnison or Dice Clay, that people find it funny because it's shocking. Ugh. But in a similar vein, I think those shows, Married with Children did something similar. That was really bawdy for the time, and I think that little bit of like, oh my God, I can't believe they put that on television really, really helps. And once it's older and crazier things like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia are on TV, it's hard to compare them and find it funny for the younger folk, I suppose. I just cemented my age as old by saying younger folk.
Also, you talk for a second like you're from New Jersey, so I don't know what's going on.
Did I? Oh my God, it's happening. I'm so sorry. I gotta go.
You're like the Jersey Hulk. You just become rude and like smell bad. And
That's my secret, Cap. I'm always rude. So what you got for us, John?
All right. Well, I can take us home with a history lesson because I like history, so I thought I'd share some amusing moments from history that I've read about.
All right.
In the 1950s, the British Army was working to develop nuclear landmines powered by what I assume all bombs are powered by. Live chickens, of course.
Right.
The goal of the Blue Peacock Project, as it was called, was to bury multiple 10-kiloton nuclear landmines that could be detonated by wire or with an 8-day timer along the northeastern German plains in the event of a Soviet invasion from the east. One technical issue arose, though, in that the temperatures of the mines buried in the ground would drop so low in the winter that the inner mechanisms would cease functioning. The proposed solution? Stuff each bomb casing with live chickens and a week's supply of chicken feed and water. As mathematic calculations determined that the chicken's body heat would be enough to keep the mine's components at a working temperature. Soldiers would then switch out the dead chickens with fresh live poultry as needed. Unfortunately for comedic purposes, but probably for the good of humanity, the Ministry of Defense canceled the project in 1958 before it could be implemented, judging that the risks posed by nuclear fallout were too high.
Boo.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose that was probably the right thing to do in hindsight, but I gotta say a small part of me is a bit disappointed.
Well, couldn't the chicken set off the landmine? I mean, like, I
They're
don't
inside the
understand.
bomb.
Yeah, like that's got to be more dangerous than stepping on the bomb.
I don't know.
Like, what if the chicken starts pecking like at the mechanism?
Especially like when it runs out of the chicken feed after a week.
Yeah. Like just mushroom cloud later, then
Yeah.
East Germany's gone.
Crazy.
Right.
Smart, though.
There's more crazy shit.
Mhm.
More great ideas. In 1994, the Wright Laboratory, which later became the U.S. Air Force Research Laboratory, developed a proposal detailing several potential non-lethal chemical weapons, including one which came to be known as the gay bomb.
Yay.
Taking the make love, not war mantra to a whole nother level, This unconventional and controversial idea involved using a plane to spray sex pheromones over enemy forces in the hopes that the soldiers would be overcome with lustful feelings for each other, causing panic and confusion within their ranks.
Panic and confusion.
Best case scenario, maybe they'd even be too busy getting amorous with each other to fulfill their military duties.
Oh, they're going to be filling duties, that's for sure.
Other chemical bioweapons researched and discussed revolved around body odors or the hormonal and digestive systems, such as the heavy sweating bomb, the halitosis bomb, and the flatulence bomb. The idea of which was to make our opponents so smelly they could quite literally be sniffed out of their hiding spots.
I've been hit by 3 out of 3 of those bombs.
None of these ideas ever came to fruition either, unfortunately.
Well, then what happened to me? Well,
yeah.
That gay bomb is awesome because like there's the one good-looking soldier that any of the soldiers that are gay like are looking at like, man, I wish they would drop a gay bomb. I know he'd choose me.
It's like a rainbow mushroom cloud or something, like glitter goes everywhere. And
That's awesome.
Gosh.
Hey, while we're on the subject of wacky ideas that were discussed but never actually realized, during the Cold War, the CIA came with a Cold War condom drop as a form of psychological warfare and intimidation. The plan was to have packages of extra large condoms labeled as small or medium airdropped by weather balloons into Soviet-controlled Europe, hoping that the ruse would make the Russians see American men as anatomically superior.
What?
And thus make them more afraid to fight us.
Why? You're not fighting each other with your dongs.
Maybe you're not.
Now, if they drop the gay bomb, then you're going to fight with your dong, right?
Maybe those ideas were in connection with each other. Hey, speaking of amusing condom moments in U.S. history, NASA's early solution to astronauts having to pee in space was a device created by a condom hooked to a bag and hose. To prevent leakage, a snug and proper fit was a necessity. But of course, men being men, all the male astronauts ignored the small and medium condoms and took only the large, regardless of their actual needs.
Jesus
to resolve
Christ.
this issue, NASA had to relabel the condom sizes as gigantic, humongous, and enormous to get the male astronauts to use the correct ones.
They're already cementing like their manhood, so to speak, by going to space.
Going to space.
Going to damn space.
You have to be the dude in space with the biggest wang. Like, who gives a shit?
Men have done a lot of great things, but at the heart of it, we are a childish gender. Here's another story that cements that idea. This one's all about priorities. In 1766, sailors for the English frigate, the HMS Dolphin of the British Royal Navy, were holed up in Tahiti when they discovered that the locals valued iron so much that some of the women were even willing to trade sex for it. Luckily for the sailors, iron nails were used to hold the boards of the ship together.
Shit.
Eventually, in what I'm sure was a complete coincidence, so many nails were removed from the ship that it fell apart in the harbor, and the crew was stranded until they could rebuild it. Priorities. Trading nails for a screw.
Hey, nice pun. That was good.
Right?
I'm proud of that one, man. That was... I should have booed you. That's how good it was. Boo.
I don't know how much time we have, but I can keep going if you want.
I don't know, man. Are you tired yet, Chris?
We should probably do one more, I think.
One more? Okay. How about this one? Graham crackers and Kellogg's Corn Flakes were both originally invented not to provide people with cheap, convenient, or healthy-ish snacks, but to stop people from masturbating. Their inventors, Reverend Sylvester Graham, a Presbyterian minister, and John Harvey Kellogg, a devout Seventh-day Adventist, believed that flavorful foods would excite people's passions in a sinful way.
Does it, Jason?
And that bland food would reduce it, including the urge to masturbate.
Did you ask me your question, Zach?
I said,
I was going to say, let me tell you, as someone who's eaten a lot of cornflakes and graham crackers in my life, both these chaps were dead wrong.
that's your thing. That's your fetish, right? Your
Just
kink.
saying, you know. Makes me wonder, though, if cornflakes were invented to prevent people from masturbating, does that mean Frosted Flakes were invented to encourage it?
That's a good question.
Or invented by people who were eating cornflakes while masturbating?
Oh, sticky.
This rabbit hole goes way too deep. So
Yeah, so I can stop there if you want and save more for a future episode. But
I think Jason's sex alarm went off, and that's why he's trying to get us off the podcast, which is fine.
Yeah.
But save those for later, for sure.
I love history, though. This is the
Yeah.
parts they don't tell you in the history books at school.
And they should.
Yeah, that's what we're here for. We're all about being educational. If we make people laugh, that's great. But I want to teach people stuff as well.
Yeah.
no, you don't.
You want to say penis and make people hear you say penis. That's what's going on.
Condom, masturbation.
Well, man, Chris, thank you so much for joining us. That was
Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Been good catching up with y'all, and yeah.
Do you have any like projects or anything that you work on that you want people to check out? Like, do you have socials that you?
No, crazy. No, I'm on Instagram as Stayman on there, so I'm not a whole lot. You see me on the running around eating ice cream cones. I like to run and eat ice cream and eat donuts. Go out and eat a dozen donuts and go for a run. But
Right on.
What's your OnlyFans?
Yeah, that's why we had you on. Honestly, we just wanted to ask that.
I'll send you the private link.
Deal.
You don't need my.
I've already got you in front of the camera for like hours. I don't need to see it.
Yes, you do.
Thank you so much for joining us. And if you ever want to come on again, we love you, and we'd love to have you again. Leave that out
Yeah,
there.
yeah, I'd love that. Yeah.
See, then this way I've got it recorded that you agreed, so now you legally have to. So.
I know why you're eating peppers at the start of the show.
Why is that? Oh, well. What's that?
You trying to calm yourself down because of the guest that was coming on.
It's true.
He got your number.
That's why he's eating cornflakes and graham crackers. Diminish some of those urges.
Tamps down the urges.
No gay bomb needed here. Y'all sexy enough as it is. All right, well, bye, guys. Take it away, Luke.